You're welcome to an ITTFM special interview with Alex, and he'll be running for Welfare Officer this year. Hi Alex, thanks for coming in.
No problem at all, Emily. Thanks very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and be able to speak about my manifesto and what I'd like to introduce onto the union if I was elected.
Brilliant. And what do you think your role involves?
Well, my role spans off around all different areas of welfare, especially in the areas of grants, mental health, physical health, sexual health, alcohol, drugs and addiction, accommodation, money management, promotion of services available, and then running charity events. I think that sexual health, mental health and physical health are very important elements of the welfare officer, especially mental health. Mental health has come on leaps and bounds over the years in the student union across all roles, but especially for the welfare officer. There's been huge help, especially in the areas of depression, but I think there's also needs to be an increase in the awareness of other areas of mental health, such as OCD and anxiety, for example, which are just a few to mention. I also think that helping students find accommodation is very important, as I said, and helping students with the grants. I think that the Student Assistance Fund, and I also think that SUSI are two huge elements, especially with the introduction into Congress of USI, saying that we need to have all of our officers educated in the areas of SUSI for both president and education officer. So if I wasn't around, the president at the time or the education officer would be able to give advice to students on how to help with the grant process. And I also think that it's very important that if students wanted to talk to someone else, sometimes they might always want to talk to, a male representative. If there was a female representative on the student union, it'd be very important that they could speak to a female representative and have a chat with them, because sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking to men.
That's great, Alex. And another question as well for you. I know you did cover a lot of it just there, but what has the SEU done well in regards to your role over the past term?
In particular, Karen's taken on a hands-on approach to the grant system with SUSI, and she did introduce it to the college, and she's done an absolutely fantastic job. She has been able to win a number of appeals in her time in office, and the feedback has been great. In other student unions, it would be the responsibility of education officer. It is quite common. I think that the welfare officer, it does suit the position very well. And if I was elected, I would definitely take this hands-on approach to assist the students. Also, she ran a fantastic Shag Week. We saw the mystery tour bus that ran in Shag Week, and it normally runs in Rag Week, and I thought that was a great addition. Feel Good Week was a great success. And Karen's also had a large part to play in the volunteering programme that I'm involved with, and it's helped me through my my experience in college, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic to get involved in it, and Karen was a big part of
Alex,
that as well.
how could the SU improve, and what would you do to improve it?
Well, I think the SU has improved quite a lot over the years, but there are a few things that I'd like to improve. First of all, in regards to my open door policy, I think it is very important to have an open door policy, but sometimes the open door policy statement can be thrown around a little bit, as in it is very difficult. I was just talking to students today, and they're asking me about welfare, and I asked them, have you gone over to the student union? And they said no, and I was like, why haven't you gone over to the student union? And they're saying it's a bit intimidating. And I said, how is the student union intimidating when they're students like yourself? And they said, well, it's much easier to go over to them than it is to talk to staff, of course. There are chaplaincy services available, and there's loads of different services available which are in my manifesto. But it's still very difficult to get over. So what I would like to do is have a real open door policy where I'm going over to the college and talking to people and getting interested in their conversation. If we have anything in common, talk to them and say, would you like to bring it over to my office and we'll have a cup of tea? And that's another very important point that I'd like to raise, that I'm going to have tea bags and cups ready so we can have a cup of tea and have a chat and get to know each other and really build a relationship. Like I said earlier, it's really important to build relationships, and then if those students know that there's a problem, they can send their friends over to me and we can have a cup of tea, have a chat.
You're like the modern day Mrs. Doyle in Father's Head.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and then on the more serious side of things, with the grants, the social and working entitlements obviously make students aware of all those different opportunities that they can avail of. Physical health is very important. I remember it was being discussed during 33 at ITT that we'd get some of the sports societies involved, such as the rugby club and the soccer club, and then the GA club to come over and help us out with the cycling. And that didn't happen as much. They did it individually, which was great. A lot of the societies were recognised, but I'd really like to see the societies work with each other a little bit more. I know the Engineering Society and the Radio Society worked together quite a lot this year, and there's a tremendous success. But promoting physical health, I can't say enough how important it is. And then even if you look at other colleges, they've got, say, the Trinity Run, and like to bring in a Tala Run, where we can get all the students involved and we can run around for charity, whichever charity we decide that is. And there's a lot of great charities that we can help. Then sexual health is also very important, especially in Shag Week. But there's a lot of emphasis on heterosexual couples, but we should also be highlighting the issues around homosexual couples and what they can avail of for their options, and bring in guest speakers to talk about, say, for example, consent and that type of thing. A lot of that would be discussed in pink training, and that's very important. So moving on, charity events. I think that the charity events in the college have been absolutely fantastic. You've got the SVP Sleep Out. I'd like to make that bigger. I'd also like to make the SVP Sleep Out more open to students who are in the volunteering programme, because I saw that there was a lack of the students who were involved in the volunteering programme from doing the Sleep Out. And I think the numbers for the 33 at ITT were great, and I'd love to boost the numbers even more for the Sleep Out. Maybe get them a little bit more involved in that and do a bit of broadcasting over that. What would you think about that?
Definitely, yeah, I'll get involved anyway.
It's very important in IT Tala Shave or Die. And then what me and Glenn were discussing earlier on in the year was a homeless run in Tala, or we could go into town and get the local organisations involved. A lot of the companies in the square would be, more than willing to help. So that would be something that I'd like to look into and definitely get running. And I think with my experience that we could get that up and running. And then there was a problem about there's an issue about the shoebox collection that I'd like to bring in to the college. A lot of people have toys that they have lying around, and I think we should get an IT Tala shoe collection. There's no reason why we can't. We all have toys lying around the house, or even if we want to go out and buy it. And I remember I did this when I was in 6th class, and it might sound ridiculous, but I had a lot of fun going over to the shop, buying the toothbrushes, buying the toothpaste, getting the nice toys. And I still think I'd enjoy it, because it does make people happier, and I think that is very important. And then the last thing is, for Rag Week, I'd like to let people know more so and increase the participation for the raise and give aspect of Rag Week. A lot of people don't even know what RAG stands for. They think it would be a drinking thing, but it's not all about drinking. You can go out and you can have a good time, and you can raise money for great causes.
Tell us a bit about this week as well, Alex. This week and next week, I know it's going to be quite hectic for you with the campaigning and stuff, and about the manifesto. Take us through a bit of what's going to be happening. Okay,
I did decide that I wanted to run for welfare quite early, and I did make that known within the college. It is something I'm extremely passionate about, and I knew I wanted to do it. I didn't actually know how much work was actually involved.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've got an extremely good team around me. Ellen Masterson has played a huge part in my campaign. So has Alex. They've been helping me the whole way. So we've got a lot in store to come. I've been updating the Facebook page, and I've been updating the Snapchat. So you can all have a look there. Yeah, so that's really.
You're nearly set, so.
Yeah. So nearly set.
And you've got your speech ready and stuff like that for tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah,
tomorrow,
tomorrow, hustings 1:00 in the canteen. So I'll be saying all
Get
this
everyone
again
to come down
tomorrow. Yeah, but I have a few more points. The points are slightly different in this interview and then in the speech. Yeah. So it both will be equally interesting.
Well, it's great to hear from you, Alex. Thanks for coming in.
No problem.
Get you before you're majorly busy next week.
Yeah.
So thanks again for coming in. If you want to go down tomorrow, 1:00 for all the manifestos. So hopefully everyone will go down and give all the candidates a listen. That's it from ITTFM. So thanks for listening.